All right, so we're going to integrate tangent squared theta times secant to the fourth power of theta. So this one actually will fit one of the rules that we talked about earlier in the review, right? And that's the rule that if secant to the power of n is even, then we have to save a power of secant squared, and we'll take a u sub for tangent of x. So if we take that advice, right, this will be a pretty easy integral. So we're going to take tangent squared theta, we're going to save a power of secant theta, secant squared theta. And we're going to have a power of a secant to the squared theta, which if we use our trig identity is going to translate into tangent squared theta plus 1 d theta. And so here we're actually going to get a couple integrals, but if we take advantage of the fact that we can make a proper u substitution, right? U is equal to tangent theta, du is equal to secant squared theta, right? So if du is equal to secant squared theta, and whenever we plug in our d theta, they should actually cancel out because our d theta is going to equal du over secant squared theta. So plugging those in, we're going to get the integral of tangent squared theta, secant squared theta, tangent squared theta plus 1, right? And then plugging in our d theta first, just to demonstrate how it's going to work, we get a du over secant squared theta, right? And then these secant squareds are going to cancel out. Remember, we made this u substitution that u is equal to tan theta. So then we get u squared times u squared plus 1, right? Du. Now this is a relatively easy integral now because we can just use our power rules. So first we're going to distribute the u squared, get the integral of u to the fourth plus u squared, right? And now we distribute the integral, we get the integral of u to the fourth plus the integral of u squared, right? And now we can just use our power rules, right? We get u to the fifth over 5 plus u cubed over 3 plus some constant. Now we plug back in our u, we get tangent to the fifth theta over 5 plus tangent cubed theta over 3 plus our constant. Right? So using our trig identities and the rules for trig integrals, this one is actually pretty easy.